Alright, so now I will explain the project charter inputs for this project. The project statement of work outlines the design and build of a two-story residential bungalow design type C, including substructures, superstructure, roofing, finishes, M&E works, and also external works. The business case supports Worldwide Holding Berhad goal to develop a premium and sustainable housing in Shah Alam. The agreements involve a design and build contract between the client and appointed contractor, which define responsibilities and deliverables. Enterprise environmental factors include like NBSR requirement, Malaysian construction standard, safety and environmental regulation, and current market pricing. Lastly, organizational process assets consist of company templates, standard WBS, historical cost data, safety guidelines, and also standard operating procedures. Next, I will explain the tools and techniques used to develop the project charter. Expert judgment from architects, engineers, quantity surveyings, and contractors help determine the project scope, cost, duration, and also risk. Data gathering methods such as brainstorming, checklists, focus groups, and interview are used to collect information from stakeholders and authorities. However, interpersonal and team skills, including like communication, facilitation, and conflict management, support effective teamwork. Finally, meetings such as coordination and kick-off meetings are conducted to confirm the project scopes, roles, and project objective. All right, this is the project charter output. And this project charter authorized the construction of a two-story residential bungalow design type C in Shah Alam for Worldwide Holdings Berhad. And the project is scheduled to run from January to December 2026 with a total budget of 500K. Their primary objective is to deliver a sustainable, high-quality home that meets modern living standards while achieving a client satisfaction score of at least 90%. The scope covers the entire construction lifecycle, from site clearings and substructure to final landscaping. Success will be measured by the Insurance Certificate of Practical Completion (CPC) and strict adherence to NBSA and BAMBA regulatory codes. So to ensure a smooth execution, the team has identified the critical risks such as like material supply delays and weather fluctuations. This project involved a collaborative efforts between the client, non-design, architect, associate engineers, and mega build construction, with a formal sign-off from the chief operating officers of Worldwide Holdings. This charter provides the official mandates to proceed, focusing on delivering a defect-free building within a fixed 12-month duration.
This section explains who is involved in the project. Firstly, we have the client as the main decision maker, or we call it as developer, supported by the design team, consisting of the architect and engineer. Next, we have the quantity surveyor, who manages cost and budget control. On site, the main contractor works with the subcontractors and supplier to carry out the whole construction process. We also have the local authorities like MBSA for approvals and compliance, and the neighboring community because their concerns can affect the progress of the construction works. Together, these parties form the project's main stakeholder group. Now that we know who is involved, this slide explains how they are organized to work together. This is shown in the project organization charter, which sets out the reporting lines and authorities structure. At the top, the client appoints a project director, who then delegates the daily running of the project to the project manager, and the project manager is the key coordinator and communication hub. Below the project manager, the project is divided into three main groups. First, we have the consultant team, which includes architect, engineer, mechanical and electrical engineer, and quantity surveyor. Second, the main contractor, who is responsible for carrying out the construction works. Third, the local authorities such as BBKL, MBPJ, and TMB, who make sure the project follows all rules and technical requirements. On site, the main contractor manages the site management team, including safety officer, staff, and supervisor, to ensure that work is done safely and to the required quality. At the operational level, the site manager supervises the subcontractors and workers who carry out the actual construction work. This structure ensures that everyone knows who they report to, which helps avoid confusion and improve coordination on site.
So this is the BBBS part. So we use the phase-oriented BBBS up to level 4. For level 1, we displays the objective of this project, which is to construct two-story residential bungalow unit. Then we decompose it into 7 phases, which is level 2. The first phase is the initial phase, then planning phase, design phase, procurement phase, construction phase, test and commissioning phase, and the lastly is the handover and closing phase. So after each phase will be decomposed into level 3, which shows the final deliverables that can be tracked by the project manager easily. For the initial phase, we decompose it into the business case document, feasibility study report, stakeholder register, project charter, and for the planning phase, we decompose into some management plan. For example, scope, management plan, time, cost, quality, resource, communication risk, procurement site management plan. For the design phase, we decompose it into schematic drawings, design development drawings, detailed drawings, and shop drawings. For the procurement phase, we decompose it into supplier list, tender document, back evaluation reports, and lastly is the execute contracts. For the construction phase, we decompose it based on the elements. For example, preparations, substructures, superstructures, roofing, finishes work, utilities, and also the external work. And then is the test commissioning phase, decomposed into pre-commissioning checklist, system testing report, efficiency reports, and the final commissioning report. And lastly is the handover and closing phase, which decomposes into as-built drawings, operation and maintenance manuals, final project reports, and lastly is the contract closure documents. And these final deliverables will decompose into their own work package. So the project manager can track the work package in order to track the final deliverables, either it is complete or not.
A site layout plan is a detailed drawings that shows how buildings, accessories, utilities, and key facilities are arranged on a construction site. It provides a clear overview of how the site will be organized before and during construction. A well-planned layout improves functionality, accessibility, efficiency, and sustainability. The common elements found in the site layout plan include site office for project management, cranes and lifting zones for material handling, and designated parking areas for workers and visitors. It also includes material storage areas, fabrication and work zones, as well as temporary facilities such as toilets, utilities, and access routes. For this project, the main concern is limited space due to high-density urban development in the Klang Valley. The site is surrounded by existing buildings, roads, and utilities which restrict usable open space. There is very limited area for material storage, machinery placement, and temporary facilities, so a compact and efficient site arrangement is required. In addition, restricted access points and heavy traffic conditions in Shah Alam affect the material delivery and workforce movement.
So this is our overall site layout plan for our project. The site layout is very important because it helps organize a construction activity efficiently, safely, and systematically from the earlier stage of the project. In this layout, the site is divided into several functional zones such as material handling, worker facilities, and security. Each zone is positioned strategically to reduce congestion, improve workflow, and minimize safety risks. The arrangement also considers access from the main road, movement of heavy machinery, and separation between working areas and welfare facilities. Overall, this site layout is designed to support smooth construction operation while maintaining safety and productivity on site. First is the material handling and plant zone, which is located along the western boundary near Jalan Gunung Tahan. This location allows direct access for delivery truck and heavy machinery, making unloading more efficient and reducing traffic inside the site. It also separates heavy equipment from the main building area to improve safety. Next is the worker welfare and administration zone, placed at the perimeter of the site away from active construction. This area includes the site office, a canteen, and temporary worker housing. The purpose is to reduce exposure to noise and thus why creating a safe, comfortable environment for workers. Lastly is the site security and access control area at the main entrance. The guardhouse controls all site access, while the briefing area ensures workers attend safety briefing before entry. Um, This helps maintain site security and improve overall safety management.
So here we compare this project management plan in the cost perspective. For the first member, we see that it used 2.45 million to construct this project, which is quite high when compared to the project charter budget, which is lower than 500K. So the current plan is significantly exceed the charter budget. Next, we compare another person's. She allocates 320,094 ringgits in this project, which is lower than the project charter budget and give 36% available for contingency, adjustment, and minor scope change. This indicates a good budget control in line with our project charter. Next, another person, it shows that it used 441,552 and 80 cents, which is below the 500K in the project charter. Also good in cost control and good project management practice. Then is another person, he also allocate around 327,320 and 52 cents, which is also lower than the 500K, which is aligned with the project charter budgets, and give a 34.5% for contingency, which is also good in budget control. And another person, which is the last person, it exceed a little bit the budget that set in the project charter, which is 536,496 ringgit, Malaysian ringgit, which a little bit higher compared to the project charter budget. So finally, there are 3 people are aligned with the budget set in the project charter, and 2 people are exceed the budget set in the project charter.
Alright, so now we compare the sequence of each project plan. Alright, so first and foremost, we have approach focus on the high-level oversight using a professional PMO milestone standards, and we have structured the file with a rollout series which allows the stakeholders to instantly verify if the project is on track and without getting lost in the weeds. By prioritizing logical sequencing and clear milestones, he has provided a professional overview that maintains transparency while keeping detailed data accessible for the technical team when needed. Alright, and move forward, Zee have developed a mature long-term sequence that accounts for the project's complexity by extending the timeline through October 2027. Her schedule strikes a balance between work hours precision and expense for the management. The logic is designed for a large-scale processing, ensuring the dates remain consistent and realistic over a multi-year duration, which is essential for maintaining a financial and operational stability. Alright, so next, Kiroshi's schedule is built for speed, proposing an ambitious 248-day timeline. While this pace is highly efficient, I recognize it creates brittle schedule prone to burnout. To make this professional and realistic, I recommend applying and resource leveling to balance the workloads and adding time buffers at the end of the sequence to safeguard against the unexpected delays that often hit the high-intensity projects. Alright, so Net Mohammed Kari designed a comprehensive task list that prioritizes that often overload soft tasks, such as like tender document preparation and procurement strategy. By including this as a mandatory predecessors, KAE ensures that the real work of building doesn't start until the administrative and legal groundwork is solid. This approach minimizes the start-up friction and ensures a smoother transition into the construction phase. Alright, and last but not least, Noor Aina project schedules utilize a dense concurrent activity model covering 10,968 work hours within a 93-day window. Because so many tasks are running in parallel, her primary focus moving forward is determining the critical path. By identifying the most vital tasks, we can prevent a total project collapse and ensure that delays in one concurrent activity don't derail the entire 93-day execution.
Now we compare the duration for each project plan. So for Onwehan, this schedule proposes a total project duration of 168.5 days, which is generally realistic and well organized. However, the 91-day construction period for a 2-story bungalow is quite tight. Overall, it is achievable but offers limited buffer for delays. So for Pangzhen, This project schedule has a total duration of 472 days, which is excessive long for a residential bungalow. From a practical standpoint, this schedule is unrealistic and not cost-effective because it will increase the overhead, higher labor, and preliminary costs. So for Kyoshi, this schedule has a total duration of 248 days and presents a balanced and realistic time frame. This schedule allows concurrent activities, improve coordination, and provides sufficient time for inspection and unforeseen delays. Overall, this schedule is practical and achievable. For Muhammad Kai bin Adi's schedule, this total project duration is 392 days, which is considered overly long and inconsistent with the one-year completion target. This extended duration leads to higher indirect and preliminary costs due to prolonged site supervision. Additionally, the timeline does not align with the scale of a two-story residential bungalow and ultimately fails to meet the project target's completion period. For the Noor Aina schedule, the total project duration is 93 days, which is overly aggressive and unrealistic for a two-story bungalow project. The timeline does not allow sufficient time for proper construction sequencing, concurrent coordination of threads, and quality control. Therefore, the 93-day schedule is considered highly unrealistic and unsuitable for this project. In conclusion, the 248-day project duration is the most practical and achievable. It balances efficiency with realism by allowing adequate time for construction, coordination, inspection, and unforeseen delays, while still meeting the one-year project target for a two-story bungalow.
Before we go into different schedules, let me first explain what is critical path. Basically, in project management, critical path is the longest sequence of activities that determines the total project duration. If any activity on this path is delayed, the whole project will also be delayed. For this residential bungalow project, we prepared 5 different versions of the schedule to show how different priorities such as time, cost, and planning will affect the critical path. First, we have the standard path prepared by Ong Wei Han. The critical path here is balanced, meaning it includes important technical activities like concrete curing. So, we do not rush the work at the expense of quality. It represents a normal and realistic construction schedule. Conservative path. The conservative path is the safest and most careful approach. It takes 472 days and finishes in October 2027. All activities follow a strict finish to start sequence so no work overlaps. The critical path include longer periods for testing, inspection, and commissioning, which improves quality and safety. This version also has the lowest cost. Next is the resource-heavy path prepared by Kiroshi. Although the total duration and labor hours are the same as the standard version, the difference is in how the activities are linked. Most tasks depend directly on the previous one, which means the critical path is very sensitive to manpower and productivity. If there is a shortage of worker or low efficiency, the project will immediately be delayed. For the version prepared by Muhammad Kai, this version is called Planning Driven Path. It places strong emphasis on planning, approvals, and documentation before construction begins, which results in longer duration of 379 days. The critical path is mainly driven by administrative and planning activities. However, it uses fewer workers overall with only 3,376 labor hours, making it more resource efficient. Next, we have the express path prepared by Noor Aina. The express path focuses purely on speed. The project is completed in just 93 days by using fast tracking, where activities are done in parallel, and crashing, where more workers and resources are added. However, this causes the cost to rise more than around 2.4 million. In this version, almost every activity has zero fluid, meaning there is no room for delay if we want to meet the 24th April 2026 completion date. In conclusion, the critical path is just not about time. It reflects the project's priorities. The express path prioritizes speed, while the conservative path prioritizes quality and risk control. By comparing these 5 versions, we can clearly see how different strategies affect cost, duration, and project risk. Understanding this helps project managers choose the most suitable schedule for their project.
So let's continue to the resource. Now let's look at the individual analysis, starting with Ong Wei Han. Wei Han's schedule focused heavily on mechanical and electrical components. The strength he provided excellent detail on procuring specific fixtures and electrical part, which is great for the tracking critical building service. The limitation, however, because the focus was so specialized on M&E, it was too narrow to serve as a complete resource plan for the entire civil structure. Next is Pan ZN. ZN primary focus was on workforce capacity planning. The strategy, he used a percentage as his unit of measurement. For example, assigning 300% to a task indicated a crew of 3 workers. The verdict, um, while this is excellent for planning human availability and crew sizes, the schedule did not account for physical material or heavy machinery, which leave a gap in our supply chain planning. Moving on to Rosie. Rosie focused on financial integration. This strategy, her schedule prioritized the daily cost rate of resource rather than physical tracking. The verdict, this approach offers strong budgeting control and financial visibility for the team. However, similar to ZN, it lacked the logistical side, ignoring the physical materials and plant machinery required on site. Next, we have Mamat Kai. Kai adopted a more logistical approach, focusing on architecture finishing. He utilized what we call the construction trinity, integrating manpower, machinery, and materials. He explicitly lists heavy equipment like excavator and used a specific unit like bag of cement and can of paint. This made his schedule the most comprehensive for the finishing phase of the build. Finally, we analyzed No Aina's schedule. Aina focused on structure and civil engineering. The strength she demonstrated the highest level of technical accuracy. She used industry standard unit like ton for steel and cubic meters for concrete. Crucially, she linked the machinery such as a concrete mixer directly to the raw material and the labor, ensuring the structure base was fully resourced.
Overall, Kyushu project plan is the most balanced and feasible with a realistic cost slightly above budget but commercially acceptable, a construction cost structure aligned with industry norms, a practical project duration that meets the 1-year target, a logical sequence and clear critical path, and effective resources and cost management, making it the best overall project plan.